ready for your last comic of the night? All right, please welcome to the stage, Cody Lindenberger!
Oh yeah! It's cold outside, guys! I love that. I like winter more than summer. Where are my people at? Yeah. Winter's awesome, guys. I specifically like winter clothing. I'm a big guy. If you can't tell from the back, I'm 14 feet tall. Winter clothing creates a lot of what lawyers call reasonable doubt, right? You put on like a baggy sweatshirt, grab a bottle of Gatorade, go out into the world. Nobody knows what's going on under there. I think Under Armour should change their slogan to maybe it's muscle. I love winter. Summer does have a lot going for it, I will say that. So we got what, baseball games, those are fun, vacations, Jesus' real birthday. Look it up. It's just I sweat a lot. I'm already sweating up here. Like my least favorite thing about the summer has to be the heat. Yeah. My favorite thing, no school shootings. Boom. If you've grown up that joke, it sounds like you wish there were school shootings in the summer. It sounds like you're out here like, what, do they get 3 months off? I'm terrified year round. My name's Cody Lindenberger. I've been doing stand-up for about 8 years. I've been comfortable telling people I'm a comedian for 4 of those years. The first 3 and the last one. New comedians have so much more confidence than they should have. Whenever you tell somebody you're a comedian, they always ask me, well, who do you like? Who do you watch? What kind of comedy are you into? And I'm like, I don't watch comedy. I don't really like it. I like doing comedy, don't get me wrong. Like me being on stage for you guys, this is like the most complete version of who I want to be as a person. I feel about stand-up the same way I feel about taking a shit. When I do it, it feels great. But if I'm gonna watch someone else do it, it better be special, you know? I need to build a connection with you. Oh, no, a lot of new comedy is just different from what I grew up with. Like when I was a teenager, when I first started getting into comedy, which is good, because comedy back then sucked, you know? We had guys like Dane Cook telling jokes like, you know what I hate? A 6 who thinks she's a 10. Oh. Yeah, fuck that guy, I agree. But now every comedian I watch, they're like, you know who I hate? Myself. Yeah. I live in Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah, that's right. You guys know Lawrence. You know Lawrence's reputation, right? We're a very liberal, progressive town. I love doing shows near Lawrence because I know that when I tell the audience that's where I live, they can just make assumptions about me, right? Like I go to Topeka, I'm like, hey guys, I'm Cody, I'm from Lawrence. And the whole audience is like, okay, this guy hates Columbus Day. He's been to a lesbian wedding before. I have, they're awesome. Whenever I tell that joke with lesbian wedding, it gets a laugh. If I say gay wedding, it almost never does. Why is the idea of me watching 2 women get married so much funnier than me watching 2 men? I don't know. I think the funniest wedding for me to watch would be a lesbian marrying a gay man, right? And being from Lawrence, I've been to that wedding, you guys. I have. They were friends of my wife. They were like high school sweethearts. They got married, had a kid, and 5 years later, they both came out. Yeah, which sounds crazy, but really, like, that's probably the most amicable breakup of all time, right? Like, they both come home from work one day, she pours a glass of wine, she's like, listen, I think I'm a lesbian. And he's like, oh, thank God. You're not gonna believe this. When I do shows out of state, I can't say I'm from Lawrence because people in like Minnesota don't know Lawrence's reputation. So I just say I'm from Kansas City. I'm like one of you. And then they always do this thing. They go like, oh, KC, huh? Must love that barbecue, right? Yeah. And I want to get offended like, oh, because I'm some big fat guy, I gotta love barbecue. Because I fucking love barbecue. Sugary fire meat? Hell yeah! I love all the barbecue places. I do feel like some people who open barbecue restaurants just do it for that sign they get to put out front. And it always has like some double entendre on it. It's always like, come on in, we're out back rubbing our meat, right? You're gonna love having our sausage in your mouth. This brisket's gonna just fuck the shit out of you. Yeah, that's some aggressive ass brisket. I didn't grow up in Lawrence. I grew up in a very small town in the middle of Kansas. My hometown was so small, we had this cat named Sam. He lived downtown, and he was like our official town cat. And also our mayor for 3 years. Yeah. It was only supposed to be 1 year, but nobody wanted to run against him. He's a very popular pussy. The only reason I still tell that joke is for that punchline. Thank you. You've reaffirmed my belief in myself. I grew up near Hutchinson, Kansas. Anybody here been to Hutchinson? I'm sorry. There's not a lot to do there. I think the coolest thing in Hutchinson, there's a space center. There's a Kansas Cosmosphere and Space Center. I got to work there for 4 years when I was in high school and college, which sounds nerdy, but I learned a lot of really cool stuff about space, about like space history. Like I learned that in 1986, after the NASA Challenger disaster, NASA changed their acronym. They changed what it stood for. They changed it from National Aeronautics and Space Administration to Need Another 7 Astronauts. I'm just trying to figure out where the old people are here. You're like, we watched that in high school. How dare you? You don't have to like that joke. I like that joke enough for all of us. I was actually in Hutchinson last month for the holidays. That's where my family lives there. It was cool. I got to hang out with my grandpa for a while. My grandpa's like my favorite person. My grandpa is the second youngest of 6 brothers. They were all raised in rural Arkansas. And they all, between World War II and the Korean War, were in the military and shipped overseas. And they all came back. You know, they were kind of like that family from Saving Private Ryan, but way better at war. You know? My great-grandma just kept getting letters from the president. We're like, everything's fine. Killing lots of people. That's what you do in war. My grandpa's 91. He turned 91 this year. For his 90th birthday, he bought himself a brand new truck, like a beautiful Chevy Silverado, all the stuff that you're supposed to have in a truck, I guess. I don't know. It confused him, though. It was a fancy truck. It's got the fancy stuff in it, and he's confused by it. It has the screen that like talks to you when you're driving, and every time he would park, it said, check back seat. He's like, I keep checking, and it's still there. Like, what am I doing? And I explained to him, no, that's to make sure you don't like park in a hot day and leave a child in the back of your car. You know, God forbid that should happen to a rich person's child, right? Yeah. I'm just saying, I drive a 2017 Kia Optima. It has not once tried to save a child's life, okay? Like, you kids are on your own. I watched a lot of cable when I was home for the holidays because my mom and grandparents all still have cable, so I had to watch commercials for the first time in a while. Why is Marvel still advertising their movies? Who's that for, guys? They've made 27 of these goddamn things. Like, nobody's on the fence about Marvel movies, right? You watch them or you don't. Like, I refuse to believe there's one person out there who's like, you know what? I skipped the first 26 of these, but that Honda commercial, yeah, I get it now. It's just a waste of money, right? Like, it makes no sense. Like, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, they reportedly spent $250 million marketing that movie. It's made about $900 million to date. They could have spent nothing, and it would have made about $900 million to date. It's crazy, right? They don't need it. It makes me question the intelligence of everyone who works at Marvel, you know? Like, and I'm not shitting on the Marvel movies, guys. I love Marvel movies. I go to all of them. I'm that guy. I just don't need them advertised to me, you know? I want to find out about a new Marvel movie the same way I found out about Daylight Saving Time, you know? Just like the night before, a text from my mom. That's all I need. Just Cody Lindenberger, like, don't forget, tomorrow's Iron Man Day. That's it. That's it. You know who I respect the hell out of, guys? Ricotta cheese. Yeah. You ever seen a commercial for ricotta cheese? Nope. Hell no! Ricotta cheese doesn't have to advertise. Ricotta cheese knows you can just wait, and sooner or later you're gonna need it. You know? Ricotta cheese is like that friend you met in college. At first you weren't too sure about him, and then you started hanging out more, you started going to parties together, you took a trip to Vegas and both got hand jobs for the same escort because that's all you could afford. But then you graduated and you moved away, started your own lives, and it's been years since you thought about that friend. Then one day you want to make a lasagna. You're like, oh shit, I wonder what Tyler's doing. That's ricotta cheese, guys. I call it the ricotta cheese joke. I'm trying to sell it as a commercial to ricotta cheese. What do you think? You think that could work? Yeah. I might have to take out the hand jobs. I don't know. Anybody else here hate the internet? Yeah! The internet's awful, man. We ruined it. We have ruined the internet. It's so toxic, man. Like, everyone's just so fucking mean to each other on the internet. You remember back in, like, 2020 when everybody was stuck at home, people were, like, baking stuff all the time? My friend Bobby, he made some bread. He put a picture of it on Facebook. I wanted to be supportive, so I commented, "Looks yummy." And 2 strangers called me a cuck bitch. It's bad, man. I think there's just the anonymity of the internet makes people think they can just do whatever the hell they want to, you know, just be as mean as they can. Like, I play spades on my phone when I'm supposed to be doing other shit, and you can, like, play with people around the world, and there's a chat section in there where you can talk to each other. A couple weeks ago, I was playing. The lady on the other team, very nice-looking lady, had, like, 2 little kids in her picture with her. She blew a nil bid, which in spades is bad. And her partner said, "I hope your children die in your arms." Children, like both of them. At least Sophie got a choice, guys. Because they're a smart crowd. That's an obscure reference. Good for you. Good for you. I don't know. You can't be funny on the internet either, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, jokes get taken out of context later in life. We see people who have, like, things they tweeted years ago get brought back up. You can't put jokes in context on the internet. That's the thing. Like, they just live where they are. There's no way to, like, recontextualize them. Like, last summer, I was up late. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and I put a joke on Facebook. I said that I think the second worst part about being sent to Vietnam was probably the humidity. Yeah. It's funnier if you know anything about the climate in Vietnam, I'll give you that. Not a great joke, not a terrible joke. My Aunt B, my grandfather's little sister, 90 years old, lives in Alabama, husband served in the Korean War. She responded to that at 3 o'clock in the morning. And she said, "You wouldn't think that if you'd been there." And I saw that and I was like, I know. That's the point. I'm intentionally underplaying the seriousness of the situation to create comedy. That's how jokes work, Aunt B. But I didn't have the patience or the energy to try to explain all of that to her in a Facebook comment at 3 in the morning. So I just called her a cuck bitch. Guys, that's called a callback, and only really good comedians can do them. You're welcome. My wife's out of town this weekend. That's cool. I like that. I'm not one of those comics who's gonna come here and be like, "I hate my wife. She's such a bitch." I love my wife. My wife gave me KU men's basketball season tickets for my birthday. Like, she's better than all of your wives, right? But I like it when she's out of town because I've never lived alone. I've never got to experience that, like, single life, you know? Like, when she's out of town, I get to do the things I see my single friends talk about in social media. You know, I get to, like, walk around the house naked all day. I get to order so much takeout food. They bring, like, 4 sets of silverware. I get to, like, try to figure out which part of my body my dogs are going to eat first when I die. You know? No? It's the tongue, guys. They're going to eat the tongue first, of course. No, we've been married for 13 years, and when we first moved in together and she'd go out of town, I would go crazy. I would, like, get as drunk as I could, do all the drugs I could get my hand on, and, like, end up passed at the strip club, you know? I don't do that anymore, guys. I'm older. I'm wiser. I don't know any drug dealers. Every person I used to buy drugs from now has 2 kids and does improv, right? Yeah. And I'm talking about myself there, by the way. I'm describing myself. I was a college drug dealer. I didn't mean to be. I was an accidental college drug dealer. It started out just like me getting stuff for my friends and I had to do on the weekends, you know? And then they're like, "Can you get stuff for our friends also?" So I'm getting stuff for them. And then I'm getting stuff for friends of my friends' friends, you know? It was like a pyramid scheme drug empire, right? Like an MLM for MDMA. That joke's better if you see it written out, honestly. I didn't even know I was a drug dealer until one day this guy showed up at my door, gun in hand, and was like, "Stop selling in my territory." And that confused the hell out of me, because up until that moment, the only thing I thought I was selling was my own plasma. I was like, "Take the $45! Yeah, my wife and I had to move in together very suddenly back when we were in college because I discovered my roommate at the time had a secret camera in our living room. Yeah. I don't know how long it was there, but he definitely watched us fuck, guys. We were like 22. Living room sex is great when you're 22, right? You're 20 and you're like, "Hell yeah, we'll do it on the couch. Yeah, let's fuck in that chair. That coffee table can hold 2 people. Let's find out." Because I'm 40, I'm not doing that shit anymore. If my wife were to suggest living room sex, I would be like, the couch? Where I watch Gilmore Girls? What? Disrespect those women like that? Whenever I tell that story to friends, they're always like, you know what? That's probably on the internet, man. I know. I've looked for it, you guys. Spent the last 15 years Googling hot girl loses bet porn. Nothing. See, that joke is built around the presupposition that my wife is so much better looking than I am that the only way she would conceivably have sex with me is if she were to lose a bet. None of you know my wife, but a lot of you laughed at that. And now my feelings are hurt. Nah, my wife is better looking than me, that's fine. I don't think I'm a bad looking guy. I think I have qualities that make me more attractive. I'm tall, which I've come to understand is important to some women. I'm smart and funny. I have no children, legitimate or otherwise. You know, I think I just live in the wrong place. Like, I'm a Kansas City 6, but I'm like an Oklahoma 10, right? They're like, good credit too? No, yeah. I actually found out back when I was in college before I met my wife that I wasn't as good looking as I thought I was. I was dating this girl at the time, her name was Claire. And Claire was gorgeous, you guys. Claire had like long blonde hair, she was tall, she played on the college tennis team, her dad was rich. She was like bad guy in a John Hughes movie hot, okay? And one day we were at a house party, I was hanging out with some of my friends, and Claire came in through the front door, and I heard this girl ask two of my friends, who is that? And one of them said, oh, that's Claire, that's Cody's girlfriend. And then they both said, he's really smart. Like, apparently so many people, when confronted with the fact that I was dating her, responded with a, how the fuck is that possible? That they had to start preemptively offering that information to people. They added a footnote to my relationship to make it easier for the casual reader to go along with what's happening. And I couldn't even really get mad at them because in their own way they were trying to compliment me. They were trying to be like, no, he's a really smart guy. This makes sense if you know him. I just wish they would have lied, you know, just come up with like a better reason why she's with me. They should have just been like, oh, that's Claire. That's Cody's girlfriend. He's Batman. Or like, that's Claire. That's Cody's girlfriend. Her family pledged her to his family to unite their two kingdoms. Or just like, that's Claire. That's Cody's girlfriend. He invented cunnilingus. Yeah, I'd take that all day, man. And Claire was just like one of many women I dated who I would find out later were too hot for me to be dating. Which I guess the lesson is, nobody's out of your league if you don't know what league you're in. Yeah. When I was like 16 years old, my friends and I were talking to one of my friend's older cousins. He's like a very cool 20-year-old guy, you know, he'd been on the football team and stuff. And the topic of going down came up. And when asked, he said, no, man, I don't eat cake. Oh. Yeah, it was just such a fun, cute way to be like, I'm bad at sex, you know? Like what, me bring a woman to climax? No, man, I don't jump on the bed. Nah, my wife is better looking than me, that's fine, I don't care. Like, I think for most men who are in like a heteronormative relationship, they probably prefer it that way, right? Does any guy here want to be the pretty one in the relationship? No. No guy wants to bring a girl home to their family and have their parents be like, okay, yeah, is she funny? Which is probably the hardest part about being gay, deciding who the ugly one is. Guys, that's a good joke and I can prove it to you. I can prove it, I will back that joke up. A couple years ago, I told that joke to some friends of mine. They were gay, they were married, I'm from Lawrence. And as I told them that joke, they looked at each other, and I could tell that up until that moment, they both thought they were the pretty one. And 2 months later, they got divorced. It's a strong joke, it's a powerful joke, man, yeah. Oh man, you guys are fun. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out, supporting comedy. That's awesome. Thanks for Jamie for having me out on this show. I'm having a good time. This is a good-looking crowd, some good-looking guys and girls here. I can say that. I'm secure in who I am as a man. My dude here has a great beard going on, man. How long have you been growing that?
About 3 years.
I was going to guess your whole life. You have tattoos? No tattoos? Oh, you're missing out, bro. There's a whole generation of men in this country who have beards and tattoos because that's just what you did when they were in college, you know? They're called 40-year-olds. You know who has to be pissed off about that, guys? Bikers. Guys, bikers spent their whole last 50 years developing a reputation for being the toughest people around, and you knew them by their distinctive beards and tattoos, right? Like it used to be, if I went into a bar, I saw two guys shooting pool, had big beards like that, tattoos on their arms, I'd be like, oh shit, these guys look like Hell's Angels, let's get out of here. Like I probably just got out of prison or something. If I go to that same bar today, I see those same two guys, I'm like, oh shit, those guys look like graphic designers. The guy probably has an Instagram account that's just his cat doing scenes from The Big Lebowski. He calls it the Big Meowski, guys. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. I like being married. I don't have to try to hit on women anymore, which is great because I never really learned how. Haven't been good at that. A couple years ago, I was at a house party one of my friends threw, and I'll be honest, because I feel like we're all good friends here now, I was being delightful. I was in a good mood. I was being really funny. People were paying attention to me, you know? And my friend came over to me, and he said, hey man, just so you know, that girl over there asked me what your deal is. Yeah, asking whether I'm in a relationship or whatever. That's what she meant. That's not what I thought she meant. I thought she was asking whether or not I'm autistic. Yeah. And I went up to her and I said, probably the worst thing you can say to a person considering you as a candidate for sex. I went up and I was like, well, I've never been tested. But I prefer even numbers and I find patterns very reassuring. Are we doing this or what? Guys, I'm Cody Lindenberger. Thank you so much. Give it up for Jamie.